name is Lexi Jong, and here I like to talk about luxury makeup. Today we are going to be doing a get ready with me featuring a full face of Surratt. So I have had some requests to showcase the foundation again, the Dew Drop, so we'll be doing that. And then over here I have the Beyond Beige palette. So I have the individuals, so I just put them on a magnet so you can see what the actual palette would look like. I ran out of my smaller magnets and had to order new ones. So there are slightly larger ones there. But we do have 4 shades. You can buy these individually or you can buy them together in a palette. The palette is currently available on Surratt and on Beautylish. It sells out quickly every time it comes back in stock. So we're going to be using this. I also have some new shades of the blush, so we're going to take a look at that as well. And I have one of the Prismatique Lips, which I've never tried before. So we're going to try one of these today as well. So let's go ahead and start off with my favorite primer, the Surratt Perfectioniste Primer. So this is my second tube of this. You can see that I definitely really love this one. I've been using it basically since it came out, and my favorite thing about it is that it makes sunscreen not greasy. So it does have a slight blurring effect on the cheeks as well. So that is always a good bonus. So when I put on my face primer, I always like to put on some eye primer as well. So this is the Viseart eye primer, and I just take a tiny little dab and put some on each eye here. And I just always make sure to go just slightly beyond the actual mobile lid, just in case there's like any shadow or anything that I decide to put there. All right, so next I'm taking the Chantecaille Le Camouflage Stilo in shade 1, and I'm using just the tiniest bit of product. I really, I don't want too much. So I didn't even click the pen. This is just what was left on the brush. And let's go ahead with the Dew Drop. So I have shade 1.5. Mine's actually, like, I'm running out of this. So this is definitely a really nice foundation. And there's a little button here on the bottom that you can depress to get some of the product out. Screw on cap. I mean, it's stunning packaging. Surratt, I always love the way their packaging looks, how it looks like a starry sky. So this is 1.5, and I think we'll just go ahead and use the Surratt foundation brush with this as well. So this is a stippling foundation brush, and I think it really works well to give me a little bit more coverage on the areas of my cheeks that are a little bit more red. And then it really, I mean, the brush performs very well. Can't complain about that, but it is just a little scratchy. So I wish it was like a little bit softer. So it's not a brush that I reach for all the time. But I have to admit, it really gives a beautiful finish. Okay, and I've got just a tiny bit left, but I'm gonna bring you in a little close so you can see what it looks like. All right, so we're just gonna add a little bit more here, but you can see that it's already, looks nice. And not too much left here. I think I'm gonna just get a little bit more to finish this cheek. So I just grabbed a tiny bit more. Put this on. Just finish this off now. All right, so this is the foundation on my skin. I think it has a really nice finish and it feels comfortable on the skin. It's really just a beautiful foundation. So for those of you who haven't tried it before, it's definitely worth trying. I believe right now on the Surratt website, if you make a purchase, they have samples of the foundation that they are giving out. And I don't know, it's always worth contacting them to see if you can get a sample if you're interested. A couple more things about shopping on Surratt's website. If you do one of the virtual consultations, I believe you are getting 25% off your total purchase at this time. If you've never made a purchase on Surratt's website, I believe there's also a promotion for first-time customers as well. So definitely check that out if you're interested in something. Now, I think while we're here, we're going to go ahead and get started with the Beyond Beige palette. So let me show you what each of these shades are. Top left, we have the shade Gruyege. And these are all new shades to me, so I haven't used these before. So this is Gruyege. You can see that it is a matte shade. And with Gruyege, you would expect a little bit more gray, but it's really more of a soft brown, in my opinion. Top right, we have Cuivre, and this is going to be a shimmery shade. It's right here. And Cuivre, I believe, means copper. You can see that you definitely have copper tones to this. It shimmers. It's really beautiful. So these shadows, if you are somebody who likes shimmer, these are going to be more of a subtle shimmer. You don't have like a ton of sparkle, but it like just gives this beautiful soft effect on the eyes. And if you're someone who doesn't like shimmer, these are probably ones that you would like. So bottom left, we have Brun Noir. So this is a deep brown black shade. It's another matte shade. And last up, we have Satin Soma. And I think this is another really pretty shade. I'm not sure. I mean, it's Satin Soma. I assumed that was salmon when I originally saw the name, but it's not really pink. It's more of a soft goldish champagne shade. So you've got some yellowish peachy tones in here, and it's a shimmery shade. So these are the 4 shades. We're going to start off with Gruyege in the crease. So let's get started. So I'm taking the medium smoky eye brush from Surratt, and I have Gruyege on here. I'm just going to put this in. Now, this brush is one of my very, very favorite eyeshadow brushes. If you're interested in trying any of the Surratt brushes, or if you're looking for a great brush to create like a watercolor effect, this is the brush. So you can see you can use it in the crease like I am now, and it works very nicely for that as well. But my favorite thing to do with this is after, especially if you're using like multiple colors, you take the brush and you just run it softly like this. And because of this like pointier shape, you're getting the crease, and you can see that it's like tapered all the way. So you've got some hairs as short as this, and it just gives this beautiful soft watercolor effect on the eyes. So I really, really love this brush in particular. Medium smoky eye. It's my favorite Surratt eye brush, one of my favorite eye brushes of all. Next, I'm taking the Petite Classique eye brush, and I'm going to go into a Brun Noir and put that on the outer corner. So it looks a little messy, but I'm going to use the smoky eye brush again. So you can see how nicely these powders go on in the first place, and they are, fairly pigmented. I mean, Surratt is a Japanese and American hybrid, essentially. So you've got a lot more pigment than traditional Japanese shadows, but they're created using like a slurry method, which gives them this softer effect. And they are incredibly like blendable. You can see how easily I blended out that deeper shade. And it's just, I love these. Next, I'm going to take the medium classic eyeshadow brush. I'm going to go into Cuivre, the copper shade. So I'm going to start this in the center of the eye. And I'm going over the Brun Noir and just a little bit closer to the inner corner as well. Wiped off that brush, and now I'm going to use the same one into the Satin Soma, the 4th shade on my arm. So I've got plenty of product here. We're going to start in the inner corner. And I'm going very lightly here. I'm going to blend this into the copper a bit. All right, so next I'm taking the smoky eyeshadow brush, and I don't have anything on it. And I'm just using this to blend the shades together. Look at that. It just gives a really nice transition there. Then I'm going to go back in with the medium classique brush, and I'm just going to use the very tip of it to get some grillage for the lower lash line. And just going to grab a little bit more of the Satin Soma to put a little bit more by the inner corner on the lower lash line. And for the upper lash line, I'm going in with the Petite Concealer in the Brun Noir. I'm just going to add it as close to the lashes as possible. So I kind of buff that out, so you really just get like a little bit of a deepening effect by the lash line. All right, so that's it for the eyes. I'll be using the Surratt Noir Lash Tint in a minute, but first let's go in with the brow gel. This is the Nude Tinted Brow Gel in, this is the light brown. So this is the shade of it. And you can see you kind of have this like toothbrush style brush. So I just like to, when I'm pulling this out, I just kind of press the bristles there so I don't have too much product. And this is a great brow pomade. I've been using the clear one for a long time, and I like the new tinted version as well. And it really does keep your brows in place wherever you place them, yet it doesn't feel like you have a lot of product on your brows. They don't get all stiff or uncomfortable or anything like that. And the new tinted one just adds a nice tint. All right, and then for the eyelashes, just using the Surratt Perfectionist eye curler. Actually, I'm not sure if it's Perfectionist or Expressionist. So I like to go in 3 increments. So I do a double pulse, closer to the base, middle, and tips. And it's a great eyelash curler for me. I think eyelash curlers are really individual. You know, it depends on your eye shape, but I think for a lot of people, this is one that works well. And if you haven't seen my mascara ranking, the Surratt Noir Lash Tint wound up as my favorite. And I absolutely love this brush. Now, I'm somebody who likes separated lashes. You know, I don't mind some length or some volume, but I don't want it to be clumpy. I want them to be separated. And this gives me nice separation. It gives me a nice tint. You can get a little bit of like a lengthening look if you add more coats, but really for me, it's all about the separation with this. And this stuff lasts all day. You need an oil-based cleanser to remove it, but it's kind of like a vinyl coating on your lashes. It doesn't flake or anything. This tube is, it's an old tube now. I need to replace it soon, but you know, you've got this nice metal comb that gives you that great separation. You don't have a ton of product that sticks to this, so you're not wasting product there because this is expensive for the amount of product you get, but I have to say it really lasts a long time. And even though this is older now, I still haven't had any cracking or drying up, no like fallout or anything, you know, like the little crumbles you get on older mascaras. It's holding up great still. So absolutely love this. I'm I'm gonna move you out for a second and we'll discuss blush and things like that. All right, so I just wanted to show you the palette a bit from a distance. And here are the swatches. So again, we have Grillage, Cuivre, Brun Noir, and Satin Saumon. And I think they are all beautiful shadows. You can see that this formula, sorry, it goes like this. This formula is, you know, it's a powdery formula, so you can get some fallout from it. It's easy to swipe away. It's not one of those ones where it like kind of adheres to your skin and when you get smudges when you swipe away. At least for me, even with the deeper shades, I don't have that happen. You know, it's not an issue for me. And I think they just blend out so nicely. They last on me all day. I don't have to use a primer. I like to use a primer because I think it helps kind of smooth out some of the creases and so forth in my eyes. But I personally really love these shadows. And I don't have any powders from Surratt. So we're gonna go ahead and use something else. We're gonna do a light dusting of the Koh Gen Do powder in Blurring Beige. And I have to say, I don't know which way is the right way to say it. I've heard people say Koh Gen Do, Koh Gen Do. So I don't know. If anybody could tell me what the exact correct way is to say that, I would really appreciate it, because I have watched videos with people who work for Koh Gen Do or Koh Gen Do, and I've seen them actually, you know, like in interviews and everything. I've heard it said both ways, so I'm not sure which one is correct. And so we've just got a light dusting here, and let's go ahead and take a look at some blushes. Now, one thing to note, when you purchase Surratt eyeshadows or blushes, they come with pretty much no packaging. So this is what you get for the eyeshadow with a little plastic cover that goes on top. You are welcome to use it like that. These pans, it's like plastic, so it's not magnetic. So I like to add the little magnetic stickers to it. I have been expanding my collection. So since the last time we did a Surratt Get Ready With Me, I've added quite a few new eyeshadows and new blushes. So we're gonna start off with my favorite contour shade here. And unfortunately, I did dig my finger into it. This is Givenchy. So we're gonna start with this. And then I'm not sure which blush we should use today. We'll think on that. So I'm taking the sculpting brush from Surratt, and I'm just gonna get some of the powder on here. And let's just start here. And this, if you have a fair skin tone, this is like the perfect shade for me for contour. I actually like, I think, using something like this instead of bronzer usually. I think it's just, it's a nice shade for someone with my complexion. This brush itself is a really nice brush. You can see that it's angled and it's not a very floppy one. There is, I mean, you've got definitely, it like bends when you put it on here, but it's short enough here that you have a lot of flex and kickback. So let's go for a peachier look on the cheeks. So this is the blush shade Parfait. And I think this is a really beautiful, like peachy pink shade. We're gonna take the Surratt cheek brush. This is I mean, these brushes, by the way, are squirrel hair. So they're very, very soft, easy to use. You know, they feel very heavenly on your cheeks. Just gonna add a little bit more here. All right, so that's it for blush. And then for highlight, I really love the Surratt Torche Lumieres, but I want to stick with powder products today. So this is another new one that I picked up. This is called Duchess or Duchesse. And this is going to be, you know, more of a peachy highlight. So I think this will look nice with Parfait. And we're going to go ahead and use the Surratt highlight brush here. Just getting a little bit here on the side. And the thing I like about the Surratt highlights, although technically the contour, the blush, and the highlight, they're all just considered artistic blushes or cheek shades, something like that. So there's no separate distinction. And I heard in one of the interviews with one of the founders of this company that these were all intended as blushes originally. So, it's just, they have worked so well for other areas of the face that, they're all technically in the blush category. And there's Duchess. And let me bring you in a little bit closer. All right, I should have moved you in closer again for the blush and stuff. So I'll just add a little bit more of Parfait here. Add a little bit to this side then too. So I'm just putting on a light layer of it. You can build these up. We're gonna go in, I'll just grab a little bit of Duchess and just a tiny bit, put that here. You can see how subtle these are. So if you're somebody who likes just a really subtle highlight, the Surratt ones are probably the most subtle ones that I have that actually give you like a little, lift, a little luminosity there. And you know what? Let's take a little bit of this and just put it right here at the front of the blush also. So you can see that that definitely like lightened and brightened a little bit, but you don't see any sparkle or shimmer or anything like that. So one of the best things about these blushes and highlights, in my opinion. Just so you can see the swatches a little bit closer here. So this one is Parfait, and this is Duchess or Duchesse. And by the way, this palette that I keep all of my Surratt in is an Adept Cosmetics palette. It's magnetic on both sides, and you have a plastic divider here so that you're not mixing anything in. So these, I love these. I have 4 of these at the time. I have 3 of the Adept and 1 of their other palettes. Absolutely love them. All right, and while we're in close, we're gonna do lips. I'm just gonna wipe off my chapstick. All right, and we're gonna take a look at Prismatique Lips. So I have used Surratt lip glosses. They're not my favorite. I love the lip sleeks. Those are incredible. They're super soft, easy to use. I really love them. So I use those quite a bit, but I have never tried one of these. So this is the shade Paillettes. And let's see what this looks like. Oh, you know what? It's basically like lightly tinted, sparkly, shiny color. So let me get something else first. I also have one of the Surratt lip pencils, which I haven't tried before. So I wanted to do a lip pencil comparison video. So this is one that I wanted to pick up for it. And the shade that I have is Tender Beige. Not sure how to say it. And let's see what this looks like. So it's like a warm kind of clay brown kind of shade. So we'll put this on underneath the pink and see how they look together. So I have to say this pencil is super creamy. It goes on very nicely. And as you saw, I didn't color in the center of my lips. I kind of kept like a thick liner on the outside and then just kind of rub them together so that I have it a little bit lighter there in the center. Now, one thing to know about these lip pencils, I think they only have like 3 shades. They don't come in like a whole bunch of colors, maybe 4 shades, but just something to note. All right, so now we're going to go in with the Prismatique. It's very creamy feeling on the lips. It's a thinner texture than the lip sleeks. Like the lip sleeks feel more creamy, whereas this feels like it has maybe a little bit more oil in it. It's not sticky or greasy feeling though. It's just, slightly different, more slippery texture to it. And let me back you out a bit. Okay, so just to note, this has 0.08 grams or 0.21 ounces. So it's not, a huge product or anything. It's made in Japan. This is how much product is in here. And I have to say, I really like the combination. And for something that's sparkly, I don't feel any grit or texture. Perhaps upon reapplication I will, but it feels very smooth. So I think the sparkle in there must be incredibly fine. And I like the combination with the lip pencil here. It actually ended up being a really beautiful nude. And I think this combination goes really well with this eye palette. All right, so that is everything for my Get Ready With Me. Let's just discuss these products a little bit. Now, as I mentioned, the Perfectionist Primer, this is my favorite primer. I actually have a couple of backups for this already. Picked them up when they were on sale because I really love this. And during the summer, this is pretty much all I'll wear because I will have so much sunscreen on that this is what I like to put on top of it. During the winter, sometimes I switch to something that's a little bit more moisturizing. But yeah, this is definitely my favorite primer. I absolutely love this. So if you can get a sample of this, I would definitely recommend trying it out. For the Dew Drop foundation, I think it is a really nice foundation. It's definitely like a great, great one to have in your collection. And it's one that I go to a lot. As I mentioned, this is pretty much empty. So I've used this one up pretty much. I will actually have this in an empty video very soon. But pre-pandemic, whenever I had like a nice function to go to, this is the foundation that I would reach for to give my skin kind of like that perfected, more like almost a velvety look, but not quite there. So it would just be this really perfected look on my skin. And I think it's got a beautiful finish to it. So this was the foundation I would reach for nice events. So obviously haven't had any of those in quite a while. As for the eyeshadows, I really love the Surratt eyeshadows in general. If you're not interested in these particular colors, they have a ton of different shades. And, Sephora actually carries some. Check those out for the Sephora sale. But honestly, if you are in the US and you're able to order from Surratt's website, they have good deals once in a while, like 25% off periodically. So that's always a great place. Last summer, Bloomingdale's had and there were a couple of days there where some of the products were like 50% off. So it always pays to kind of look around, but buying these for full price, in my opinion, it's still worth it. So, and I have bought some at full price as well. They are $22 for these regular shadows. They also have the hologram shadows, which are more expensive. I don't remember, maybe $30. Those are the ones I've showcased them in another video, but they're more of like a duochrome thing that depending on what color base you put it on, you can see a little bit more, it'll be like deeper and more jewel tone or more pastel and so forth. So they're a really awesome eyeshadow. We'll talk more about those soon. And yeah, in general, I absolutely love the shadows. This particular palette, Beyond Beige, if you are looking for an everyday neutral palette, this is a fantastic choice. So I considered getting this as the actual palette, but I just really like having all of my Surratt shadows kind of together and then mixing and matching them. I just use a Penzies magnet actually, and I like to make my own little quads and so forth on here. So I personally like to have the singles. But one of the things I love about Surratt eyeshadow palettes is the shades they use in the palettes are also available in the singles. So you always have that option. And if you already have shades of singles, you're not forced to buy a palette that you already have certain shades of. And I think that's one of the things that is fantastic about this brand. Another thing I love about this brand is they are not really like a fast fashion brand, if that makes sense. So they don't put out a ton of new releases and they're not always, pushing for the next new thing. They take their time to fully develop a product and then they release it. They are not, necessarily putting out new things for spring, for summer, for fall, and so forth. So they take their time to develop it, and when it's ready, that's when they release it. So I really like that. I like how they are focused on creating just like a really great brand overall, that, it's like they're focused more on creating the best products they can in all of these categories and not so much with trying to, just continually pump out new products, if that makes sense. So it's more of a lasting, permanent range, and I really appreciate that. So again, here are the swatches for the eyeshadow palette. Really, really love these. And again, I think it's a great neutral eyeshadow palette. As for the blushes and highlights, as I've mentioned, I absolutely love them. These are also a slurry formula, similar in texture to the eyeshadows, you know, so if you have tried one or the other, this is essentially what they will feel like. And I really love how subtle these powder highlighter shades are from Surratt. The blushes, they've got more pigmented shades, they've got some lighter shades. Parfait is more in the middle. You can build this up and get this more pigmented, but they definitely have something to suit everybody in their range, in my opinion. And yeah, fantastic. As for the brow pomade, it's been, the clear one has been my go-to, one of my go-to brow products for a couple of years now, or over a year at least. And so I'm very happy to try the light brown one as well. I really love both of them. One of the benefits, well, you can do this with either, but I do sometimes like to take like my Gucci brow pencil, fill in some of my sparser areas, and then use the brow pomade. It works well with the tinted or the clear, but that's, you know, something you could do as well. And then the Surratt Noir Lash Tint, absolutely love it. Again, it came out as my favorite. I have already purchased a backup because I love this one so much. And, you know, I'm not going to deny it is a very expensive product. However, it's actually, it lasts forever. So if you break it down per ounce, it seems very expensive, but because you don't have a lot of product clinging to the brush and the bristles, it doesn't really seem to dry up quickly or anything like that. It actually lasts longer staying fresh than some of my other mascaras with a more traditional formula. So I absolutely love it. We'll continue to purchase it. And as for the lip pencil, I have to say I was very pleasantly surprised how creamy it was, because you know, I feel like a lot of times the ones that have the twist up product instead of like a pencil, they're not necessarily as creamy. They're a little bit drier, and sometimes that's kind of necessary in order to kind of keep that shape so it's not, you know, kind of deforming every time you use it. And I feel like this kind of has a good balance of creaminess and stiffness. And the color, you know, I'd love to see more colors in the range in general, but I really like how this color paired with the Prismatic Lips, and I love this combination here. The Prismatic Lips, you know, it's super comfortable. It feels more like a thinner like lip balm, and yeah, I'm very happy with it. So overall, I enjoy this whole look. And as you can tell, Surratt is one of my favorite brands. And I forgot to mention about the brushes. I really love Surratt's brushes, and I have most of them. I don't have everything yet, but they are incredibly soft and easy to use, the face brushes. The sculpting brush, I gotta double check the fibers on this, but I think it's squirrel, maybe mixed with some goat. It's a little bit firmer. And the highlight and the blush are just all squirrel. They're incredibly soft. You know, they are comparable to the Chikuhodo Z series. So if you're interested, or if you have one or the other, you know, you can kind of see what they will be like. And rumor is that Chikuhodo is the manufacturer of Surratt's brushes. So whether that's true or not, you know, I can't confirm that, but that is the rumor that I've heard for many years. As for the eye brushes, I have the petite and the medium versions of both the classique and the smoky. And I have to say the medium is the perfect size for me. I really like the petite classique as well, but the petite smoky, I don't use as much. The medium smoky, I'm actually considering getting a second one because I use it so much. I don't have the grande yet. I had ordered it from Sephora, and they canceled my order because it ran out of stock apparently. So I still need to get the grande brushes, but I think the medium is like the perfect size. So I feel like that's kind of the sweet spot in the sizes for me. And yeah, I already discussed the foundation brush. I think it is a really nice, you know, it gives a really nice finish. It's a little too scratchy, so it's only okay to me. You know, I think there are other foundation brushes that I would reach for first. Well, there definitely are. So I would recommend some other foundation brushes over this one, but I do really like the shape and the finish it gives. So, you know, pick your battles. And that's everything then. So please let me know if you have any questions down below in the comments or DM me on Instagram. I'm at AlexisJong. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this. I hope this was helpful. Let me know if you guys want to see more looks with the Beyond Beige palette. And as I promised, I will have their other newly released palette, I think it's called Dune Rose. I'll have a video on that in the next few weeks as well. So thank you so much for tuning in. I hope this was helpful. And if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up. Consider subscribing if you haven't already. And I will see you very soon. Have a great day and stay safe and healthy.